Hi, I'm Sean Walker from iTrain Hockey. Today we're going to focus on a basic stick handling in tight. So this is like the most basic we can get to control the puck. So we're going to do it in a stationary position, and then we're going to demonstrate it in motion. And we're just going to be, again, just moving the puck between forehand and backhand side, and we're just going to show you the most efficient way to control it as if the puck is a part of your body. Okay, our first step is establishing a proper grip. So we want to make sure that my blade is not on the backhand, it's not on the forehand, but it's right down the middle right now. So it's vertical. We want to make sure that our thumb is pointing down. If my thumb is pointing down, then I've got all four of my fingers plus my thumb wrapped around the knob of my stick, and I've got a firm grip. If you've ever heard of like soft hands, Patrick Kane on Chicago's got some soft hands. The reason why it's called soft hands is not because he has a soft grip, but it's because his wrist looks quite loose, but the grip is actually quite tight. So make sure that your thumb is facing down. If my thumb is facing to the side, which is an error that a lot of players make, then these last two fingers are barely gripping the stick. So it's almost like you have two fingers and half of a thumb gripping your stick. So most important thing, point your thumb down, establish that grip. Once we rotate our wrist, then look at my blade. My blade rotates along with it. With a puck, I can't actually, if I was going to throw the puck, I wouldn't actually throw it with an open blade or an open hand. I'd throw it with a nice tight grip. So in the same way, we don't have fingers on our blade, but when I rotate my wrist, watch what happens to my blade. It cups the puck. And if we look at the blade, the entire blade, when it's rotated over, is actually fully on the ice. If I don't rotate it over completely, look how much of the blade is actually off of the ice. So it's like you're stick handling with a blade only this big. When we bring it to the backhand side, same thing. We rotate it the opposite direction, and almost the entire blade is onto the ice. So the first thing is establishing. I just get the kids that I'm teaching and the players that I'm teaching just to rotate their wrist over with just one hand, make sure their arm is away from their body, they have a tight grip and a proper grip, and they're just going to rotate the puck between forehand and backhand side. Okay, let's move on to the bottom hand now. So top hand is a control hand. It's not going to change. That wrist is still going to rotate even as you have two hands in your hockey stick. As a general rule, as a reference point, sometimes we would have the players put their elbows right against their top hand, and then they'd grip their stick there. So I like that position. I actually like getting just a little bit lower than where that is. So it's really where you're comfortable. We never suggest putting them too close together because the lower part of your stick is actually a lot heavier now, and we won't be able to move the puck nearly as well. So I like it right about here. My top hand is still going to rotate. If this is as fast as I could go with one hand, now this is as fast as I can go with two. So second hand is going to add one speed, but it's also going to add some support and some control. The top hand, think about it almost as like an extension of your arm. When I rotate my wrist, then my stick comes along with me, and as long as we have that tight grip, then it's nice and firm. So it's like a nice extension of your arm. You weren't born with a hockey stick, but once you have the proper grip, then it's like that extension. The bottom hand, again, is just to support that extension. Okay, so if I want to move the puck in this direction, my bottom hand is going to push it in that direction and add some speed, while the top hand, again, it just controls it and has a nice firm grip. One thing that I like to do is I've played with some amazing players that have just fantastic hands. Their hands may not look as fast as like what Patrick Kane's are, but they're nice and solid. So I always like adding like a little bit of a flex, almost like you're pushing into your stick. So if you tried lifting up the stick, there's some weight into it, and that bottom hand definitely helps with that as well too. The reason why I might want to do this, maybe not for fast hands, but for some solidity, is if I'm getting a poke check on the forehand side and I put some weight into it, that puck will not fly away. It'll probably stay almost right on your stick and right with you. So this is a good puck possessionary, a puck protection type of skill that I always suggest players to start with. So again, with two hands, it would look like this. All right, the next step in our progression for basics in tight stick handling is to make sure that we're placing our weight using our legs as well too. Stick handling is not just a stick handling, so we're not just using our hands, but we're actually using our full body as well too. So it really helps me move the puck. If I wanted to place my weight from my left leg to the right leg, look, I can move that puck just by moving my feet. So it definitely does help. So when I move the puck to the backhand side, I'm going to be placing my weight on my right leg. When I move it to my forehand side as a lefty, it's going to be placed on my left leg. The way that we can place weight onto our legs is by doing this, where one foot stops, and then the other toe, you're going to lift up your heel, it's going to drag. It's just really important that we keep a nice wide position as we're doing this. And it's a nice way to control the puck. You can do it fast or you can do it quite slow. Another way to do it is you can just sort of kick your heels forwards. So this is actually quite similar to what we're going to be doing once we do the drill in motion and we start doing C-cuts. Sometimes when we do C-cuts, we're placing our weight into our heels anyways and kind of kicking our toes up. So this is a nice motion for us to do as well there. Last step here is we want to make sure that the blade and the puck, they look very attached. So when I bring the puck from my forehand to the backhand side, very naturally, I'm not going to bring it underneath, but I'm going to bring it over top of the puck. And we want to make that transition very smooth. Watch the puck. I barely shave the top of it before I rotate it over to the backhand side. Right now you see there's some separation between the puck and the blade, whether it's over the top or it's even from its side. So it's almost like me grabbing the puck and just throwing it up in the air, and it's kind of anybody's puck. In the same way, right now it's just anybody's puck while it's separated. So when we stick handle, look how it almost looks like the puck and the blade are attached. Okay, our last step for stick handling now is just making sure that our head is up. So right now, as I'm looking at the camera, I can see that my puck is right down here. I can see it clear as day. As long as my head is up, I can see almost everything that's happening on the ice. If my head is down, then I can see literally about this. That's about all I can see. So it's really important that our head needs to be up. Peripheral vision is obviously what it's called when we're controlling the puck, and I can see it clear as day. The ice is white, the puck is black, and so it's really easy for me to visually see it. If you ever lose possession of the puck, then get your head down and then pop it right back up so that we can control it while being able to survey and see everything that's going on around us. All right, the puck really likes it when we're nice and low down to it. The puck is quite low as it is, obviously. So when we get wide and we get low, the puck, it's so much easier to control from down into this position. Also, if my head, the reason why it is because if my hands were really close together, it would actually force me to be in this upward position. As soon as I do this, then I'm almost forced to slide my bottom hand down a little bit lower. And as soon as I bend my knees, it wouldn't make sense for my hands to be here. It would only make sense for them to be here. So this is why we're always encouraging players, especially beginners, to really learn about what that basic hockey stance is. Nice and wide and nice and low. You see Crosby's in it literally the entire time that he's on the ice, whether his feet are planted or he's into a crossover, he's in a forward stride. He's always nice and low with his knees bent and nice and wide for stability. So in the same way, when we want to control a puck, make sure you're nice and low and wide. We got to make sure that our arms are away from our body. So I always tell players, before gripping your top ham, flex your bicep, make that 90-degree angle, and then rotate it upside down. And then we're just going to naturally have a little bit of a bend to that elbow, and my hands will be away from my body. A lot of players mistakenly will have them almost up against our body, just like we're getting our picture taken. If you look at any NHL player, their hands are always away from their body. So they're always pushing their hands towards wherever they're facing, towards forwards. So just make sure your hands are always away from your body, and we'll have more mobility once we start getting into some more advanced stick handling as well too. Okay, let's move on to our basic stick handling in tight, and we're going to do it in motion. The technique is the same. The only difference now, look at my feet, I'm going to be doing C-cuts as I'm skating down the ice. The reason why we're doing a C-cut stance is because, one, I can move laterally from side to side very easily from this position, but I'm also nice and wide and nice and low. So my main focus is on my hands as opposed to my feet. If I was in a forward stride trying to stick handle, we'd still sometimes do this once in a while, but it's almost like an unorthodox technique if we're just moving forwards. So often we're switching between doing C-cuts and then getting into a crossover or getting into a forward stride. So again, we need to be really dynamic in how we adapt and transition between each of those. But a nice, for basis of stick handling, we stay nice and wide and low, and we just do our C-cuts as we stick handle down the ice.